Hi, we're live. Um, no, this is not an April Fool's joke. I didn't realize at the time when I made the live stream that today is definitely April Fool's, which explains a lot of things that have been going on today for me personally in my life at work today. It explains a lot that has been going on today because I have definitely been like, why is everybody I can't say what I want to say, but because YouTube looks at like the first 30 seconds of the video, and like if you say curse words or if you like, they're really don't like it when you do that in the beginning of the video. So I'm gonna save it. But yes, this is not an April Fool's joke, although um April Fool's does explain a lot of what's been going on today. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. Big Apple Smacker. I don't. Is that what they're calling him? This is a serious topic, guys. We're not about to. Just because it's April Fools doesn't mean we're going to skibbity toilet or whatever the kids are saying these days. I don't know. I don't know. So, what are we going to discuss today? I'm glad you guys asked. So, the gentleman who went around punching women in New York City. Also, this is not just one person doing this. There are multiple men, from what I can gather, on TikTok as well as on some news outlets. If you've been going to YouTube and looking at some news there, anywhere that I can search, it looks like there are multiple different people. Like I've seen footage of separate incidents that look like separate people. And I believe this is continued after this gentleman has been caught. So we're not examining everyone who's been doing this. We're examining this gentleman in particular. I do want to make y'all aware, in case some of y'all live in New York City, this is not the only man. So still be aware. We will be looking at this event generally just to kind of talk about women and men relationships and why there's a sort of divide, because when I see stuff about the gender war, that feels unusual to me, because there is not like a female led plan to go out and hurt a bunch of men physically and cause harm to them in the way that I see from the other side. So I have never felt like it's equal and back and forth. Like at the most, I feel women are saying stuff like sprinkle, sprinkle or something and get the bag. And like, I feel like, me personally, maybe you guys disagree with this and this is fine. I feel like manipulating somebody out of their money is a lot less bad than manipulating them out of, I don't know, like, how do I say it? Causing them violence or sexual harm. I feel like if Uncle Sam comes in my home and he wants some taxes, I feel like I would be more okay with that than if he wanted some booty. So that's all I'm saying. That's how I feel personally. Maybe you guys feel differently, and that's fine. But welcome everybody. JC, Khalidra, Miss Globe Girl, welcome Dita, Crystal, Bullet Magnet, 88, Roshan. Greetings and salutations, petty people. So we have to figure out what we're gonna be. I don't know if we're still doing the panda. I don't know if are we the petites? Petty in the petites? I don't know. You guys are gonna have to figure that out. You're the community. I can't name you. You sort of just do that internally. Yes, there is more than one, to my knowledge. I'm feeling pretty and petty. She said she wonders if there's a subreddit. Oh, we're going to look at her TikTok. So now that a couple people are in here, I do want to say I checked my notes because I have a document to my right here. And we were going to be looking at his TikTok channel, actually, because this man has a TikTok and he's actually not famous at all. He doesn't have any clout or following, really, but he does have a TikTok. He chooses to do some interesting things on TikTok. Unfortunately, well, fortunately, but unfortunately for the sake of our live stream, I found out his channel was deleted today by TikTok, made aware of the type of content that he would post, and have deemed that not fit to be on their platform. And unfortunately, I didn't download any of his videos before the deletion of his channel, which we were planning to look at today. But luckily, other people did. So we're still going to have a look at it. We're just not going to be able to go through it directly. Luckily, there were multiple people on TikTok who, when they found out this man was caught, they went and saw how crazy his history is and like started screen recording on his TikTok. So we still have some stuff to look at. I think I'm going to just play my intro. Maybe this isn't a good live stream for memes in the beginning. Maybe one meme. Maybe one meme. I feel like we could do that. We could do one meme, can't we? Going once. Going twice.
What's your name, sir? My name is Dees. Dees what, sir?
Okay. Hopefully we all understand this meme without me playing it further because there's copyright music. Let's do one more.
What's your name, sir? My name is Dees. Dees what, sir?
Okay. Now let's see.
So do you want to stop being trash on roller skates? Learn how to stop correctly? Join a Rockstar Bootcamp that's happening April 1st, and I got you. Go ahead and leave in the comments I'm ready, or shoot me a DM. We'll take care of you. So do you want to stop being trash on roller skates? Learn how to stop correctly? Join a Rockstar Bootcamp that's happening April 1st, and I got you. Go ahead and leave in the comments I'm ready, or shoot me a DM. We'll take care of you.
Y'all, I have been seeing multiple commercials like this on my TikTok and Instagram, and it never fails to do what it needs to do. I'm gonna see if I can find one more. I need one more. Never mind, we can watch this instead.
Good golly, Miss Somali.
Hey, baby.
Girl, what's your name is?
I got a man.
Huh?
I got a man.
What your man got to do with me, baby?
Listen, my husband don't play that.
He don't play that?
And neither do I.
Give me your number.
No.
What you get in my car for?
She had an answer for everything until that last part. We love to see Black women being loved and appreciated over here. Also, she has very nice eyebrows, and the outfit looks very nice.
Yeah.
I got a man.
Huh?
I got a man.
What your man got to do with me, baby?
Listen, my husband don't play that.
He don't play that?
And neither do I.
Give me your number.
No.
What you get in my car for?
Cool. Oh, here's another Black relate. I love these two. I
got to say this.
I think this might be copyright though. But just know I love this couple. I haven't seen any controversy yet, so I'm gonna continue to say I love them until something pops up. Just know I love that couple. If you know, you know. I think that's all we're gonna look at today. Wait, let's look at this interracial relationship.
I'll see you later. I love you. 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 I love my husband. I love my wife. I'll see you later. I love you. 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 I love my husband. I love my wife.
Well, I just showed y'all two different interracial relationships back to back. Y'all make y'all own decision about what's going on in the community. Without further ado, let's get into it. Oh, and that second one we just watched, I'd love it. I'd love to be in a relationship. If you could be weird with somebody, I'm not about to be the guy to come and ruin someone's good relationship just because I'm salty. I'm single. Who am I to talk about some people in a happy and loving relationship? Nobody. All right. So that was adorable. Oh, also, let me know if you are seeing advertisement during the stream. I used to ask this question because some of you guys told me that during the actual live stream, not after it posts, but during, y'all are seeing advertisement. So when you just said that was so adorable, I was like, the last relationship, cool, go off, love it. But then I thought maybe you're behind because YouTube does put ads on the live stream sometimes. So I'm just trying to collect some data to see when they are and are not showing ads. So if y'all get some ads, just put it in the chat so I'm aware of like if they're showing up in the video or on the live stream and when they're showing up. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce this topic with the first video that I ever saw about this incident, which is from Holly Kate on TikTok. She made a video detailing how she was just walking in New York and a random man punched her. It's not very long. It's about 16 seconds. And there is no violence shown on screen, by the way. This is just her after the event. Vitamin says she saw one coming in. Khalidra says she just had, whoa. Okay, so do you guys get them normally on this video specifically? Are they on every live stream, certain live streams? Y'all don't have to answer now. Actually, I'll just put a poll in the chat. I forgot I could do that. What should the poll say? Are you getting ads? Yes, I type fast. I took the class in high school. Okay, if y'all are saying y'all got them coming in, I feel like that's different than like if they are playing. I don't want to be talking and then like an ad pops up and I'm thinking y'all with me, and meanwhile y'all are 5 seconds behind. So I put the poll in the chat. Be sure to vote on it if you are affected. Now, let's watch.
You guys, I was literally just walking and a man came up and punched me in the face. Oh my God, it hurts so bad. I can't even talk. Literally, I fell to the ground and now this giant goose egg is forming and I'm like, oh my God, it looks so crazy. You guys, I was literally just walking and a man came up and punched me in the face. Oh my God, it hurts so bad. I can't even talk. Literally, I fell to the ground and now this giant goose egg is forming and I'm like, oh my God, it looks so crazy.
Now, when I first saw this, the comments were much different. Luckily, they are much better today. People were making fun of, let me go ahead and go back. People were making fun of the knot on her head, and people didn't seem to be taking it very seriously, as well as Black people in particular. I noticed in the comments on this video were saying that this is happening to white women. So it sounds like y'all have a problem, but the comments look a little bit different today. So they don't look that bad. So we don't have to go through the comments. But let's watch the next video of several more women who came forward to detail similar experiences. Not the people in the comments saying we ain't going to New York City no more.
I was literally just walking, and then a man came up and punched me in the face. So I just got punched in the face walking home.
I was with my coworkers walking in Times Square, so be safe out there.
I got punched in the face on the streets in New York.
This is the first Black woman I've seen say this. I did not know. I did not know. Like, I'm blind watching this video specifically with you guys.
Let's talk about it.
New York is considered to be one of the safest big cities in the U.S. But recently,
Is New York considered to be one of the safest big cities in the U.S.? New York City ranks in the top 15% safest of more than 800 U.S. cities. Hold up real quick. Higher population did not directly equate to proportionally higher rates of gun homicides ownership. So I did not know that. Why did I feel like New York was like Chicago or something? I have not heard good things about Chicago, but I haven't visited. So I'll seal my lips on that. It's not fair for me to say that without knowing. I thought New York was a violent place, but apparently it's in the top 15% of safest cities in the US. That's crazy. That's like insane to me. I did not know that. But it also depends what they mean by safe. Like, because this is on a curve, right? It says safest cities in the US. It doesn't necessarily say how safe it is. Safest city in the US could be like your children are only 10% likely to have their school interrupted by gunfire, so. But yeah, apparently they are in the top 15%. And look at me, it was being judgmental. This is why you shouldn't judge people without knowledge. Did they mean Manhattan or all 5 boroughs? Let's go back real quick. Let me see if it says New York City, so I feel like it would include it does not say right here. Yeah, it doesn't say right here. It does not say. Wait, New York, Newark, Jersey City. That's interesting. So they're apparently lowest on the list of fewest licensed dealers than what their size would predict. Okay, anyway, back to the topic at hand. We got distracted. Sorry. The tism. Welcome, Alicia.
some women have shared alarming stories on social media about being punched or assaulted while walking in New York City. CNN has been unable to verify these claims, but many of the posts went viral.
I've never been hit that hard before, so it definitely took me back.
And just like out of nowhere, I just got like hit in the punched on the back of my skull.
So I was completely focused on my phone and I got a slap like that. And then I immediately started crying.
CNN reached out to dozens of women who told similar stories. We interviewed 6, and most said the attacks happened in broad daylight.
I was in Tribeca after dinner, just walking around with my boyfriend.
I was waiting for the bus. I actually was
walking around with your what? And where was he? Provider, protectors, where? Anyway.
on my phone.
It definitely has changed my sense of just sort of paranoia or anxiety with just being and traveling around.
I mean, obviously getting assaulted is terrible, but getting punched, like, you're still alive. I just remember like feeling like grateful that like nothing worse had happened.
While posts have gone viral recently, some women are sharing experiences that date back years.
When my video went viral, so many other women were like DMing me, commenting, and just saying they've been through the same thing.
It was perceived in not the best way.
I honestly received like some of the most like disgusting comments that like
St. Marquise, why are all these non-Black women being slapped? Oh, we're going to talk about why it's just or mostly white women, blonde hair, blue eyes. We're going to talk about why.
Just people saying things that were like absolutely terrible to me. This has been an issue for a while, and I think that it's happening to people across like all groups and races.
NYPD said they made an arrest in one such case. Multiple women told CNN that the man they arrested was not the same man that attacked them. Many women also told CNN they didn't report the incidents.
Just felt like it was going to be more of a headache for me to have to relive the trauma and file a police report.
CNN's law enforcement expert, John Miller, encourages victims of these types of attacks to report the incidents because increased reporting helps in the prosecution of culprits.
My message to other women would be to stay off your phone or as much as possible and be aware of your surroundings and know who's around you.
Keep a gun under your phone. I don't like that advice. Keep a gun under your phone. Stay on the phone, but keep some pepper spray under it. There. Where is that guy with the chart? This is the guy that we need right now. Talking about stay off your phone. No, keep something on you, because too many people are effing around and we're not utilizing. A lot of people forget that on these charts, there's not just the x-axis, right? There's also a y-axis. And as you can see from this man's chart, I'm sure you're all aware of this man. He teaches things. As you can see here, the 7 on the F around chart is circled. And he draws this line up here to meet with the parabola. Just kidding, guys. This is definitely a y equals mx plus b or something. But as it intersects here with the y scale, also a 7, what you learn is these things are directly proportional and correlated, right? I would even wager that there's causation here, but we won't get into that, right? We'll stay mathematical. So the more you F around, obviously, the more you find out. And what's going on in New York is too many people are effing around and not finding out, and it's throwing the balance off. It's throwing the balance off. So like the people in the video said, they recommend reporting these things when they do happen, even if it may be difficult. It can help the next woman or the woman before you, as well as yourself. But also, I would carry something. Apparently not a gun, because New York is does not allow that, to my knowledge. So I can't recommend that. That would be against the law in New York City specifically. Now, we were going to watch a video of there was one guy who was making fun of the size of her knot, but I believe he took his video down after some backlash. So we won't watch that. I just wanted to present that because that was one of the first responses I saw. And I had a little haha moment, like the knot looked freakishly huge. I'm not going to lie. It looked freakishly huge. So I had a little haha moment, but it also made me think about the idea that men do not protect or care about women in the way that, I'm not going to say the way that we think they do, but in the way that y'all think they do. Separation, right? I don't think that's what's going on, because whenever, not just this case, but whenever someone, specifically a woman, is like assaulted or has something happen to her in public, the first thing men generally, not all men, right? Obligatory, not all men, is come out and either make fun of it or talk about why they won't protect a woman in public unless they're having sex with her, or it's their daughter. So that does not feel like natural provider protector to me. I'm just informing y'all, right? This video is not about traditional male roles. It's about provider protector, or provider or protector. It's about people being punched in New York. Now, what I also wanted to look at was there were several Black people and people of color making videos to speak about how, not speak about, but questioning, why is this only happening to white women? Obviously, we did see 1 or 2 Black girls sprinkled in the mix, but overwhelmingly, it seems like there's a bunch of white women on this app who have been assaulted by someone in New York City. And I wanted to play this because this was one of such videos. She's not black, obviously, but.
Oh my God, this morning I've seen like 5 videos of white women getting punched in the face in New York City, and it's just white women. It's just white women in New York City. Are white women in New York City safe right now?
With
I've
how
seen
many
enough
women in the
SVU
last
to know
48
that this
hours?
guy has an MO. He's a serial white woman puncher. The New York City puncher.
One more. I think the comments on this one were interesting too, so we can look at them after. Y'all can't hear it? God dang it. Y'all couldn't hear none of that. After all I did for y'all, is how y'all repay me. Okay, let me play again. Can y'all hear me? How about that? Can y'all hear me? I don't know what to do. If y'all can't hear me, I don't know what to do. I'm not on mute. Oh, never mind. Y'all can hear me. Y'all might be behind. See them ads. Let me see. Let me check on that poll real quick. I asked, are you getting ads? 50% of you said yes, and I usually do get ads. 9% of you said yes, and I usually don't get ads. 33% of you said no, and I usually don't. I should have added a caveat because some of y'all said y'all pay to not have ads. I didn't say anything because you are allowed to stunt over here. I'm not going to stifle your. If you got it like that, you got it like that. I'm not going to be pissy about it just because some people get to enjoy the luxuries and other people don't. But I should have made a separate thing for people who had YouTube Premium or whatever it's called, who don't see ads generally. But specifically for people who get ads on YouTube, apparently 58% of y'all are seeing ads on this video. And of that, 49%, 90% usually see them. And then 40-something% are not seeing them. Okay, cool. So I was just seeing something. Because apparently YouTube puts ads on the live stream, even if I don't have my ads on, which I know they do for videos. So for videos, I'm pretty sure I can turn monetization, for example. I can turn it on and off. But regardless of if I have it on, you'll still see ads. And the same thing for live streams after they have posted and become a video. I didn't know that was also true for during the live stream. No, I don't get paid off of ads if I don't have it on. That's why I'm a little upset, because in my mind, I was sacrificing a little bit of revenue. It's not a lot. I'm a small channel. A little bit of revenue for the sake of not having people be behind during the stream. Like after the video post, I'm cool or whatever. But during the stream, I would like people to be on the same page. So here I was being a good Samaritan and saying, I can take this sacrifice if it means we're all, what is it? No Child Left Behind, or whatever that program is called that absolutely failed and did leave children behind. But I wasn't going to be like that. I was actually not going to leave people behind. But apparently it doesn't matter if I do or don't. So that's all I wanted to know. If I turn it on, though, I can change the frequency of the ads to be more or less conservative. So maybe we can test if that does or does not have an effect. And a lot of y'all said it's before the stream starts, which I might be more okay with as long as it's not during. But y'all were saying y'all did not hear that video at all. So I'm going to play it again. And if y'all hear it, let me know. Put a 1 if you hear it so I don't play it again while it's muted.
With how many women in the last 48 hours I've seen on this app getting punched in the face in New York City, there's got to be a Reddit or something, a Discord. I feel like this is being planned. Like, I know people get punched in the face in New York City probably daily, if not multiple times daily, but like, there's a certain type of person that is getting punched in the face. It seems like it is all white, very blonde, blue-eyed women. Like,
I just realized she's white, blonde, and blue. No, she has worry in her eyes and in her voice. I see why now.
This just has incel written all over it. Anyone else thinking this? Because, like, again, I realize this happens a lot, but like the amount of people that in the last 48 hours that are coming on this app being like, well, I just got punched in the face and now I'm going to the hospital. Well, I just got punched in the face and now the cops are involved. And like a lot of them are not even looking at their phones or just walking. And also multiple stories that I've heard, the guy looks at them, points at them, and then does like the pew signal. I've heard that more than once now. So like, where's the Reddit page? Where's the Discord? How do we find that?
Hopefully we all heard that. Hopefully we all heard that. So Dita says she's watching a perfume ad, and I haven't got a single perfume deal. I haven't gotten a single sponsor. And I feel like I can. Are you tired of a battery that runs out of fuel too soon? Energizer doesn't. New Energizer batteries. Go and get them. I don't know. I feel I could do something. Something steep. It's the T for, I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to spitball some stuff in case the advertisers in question are watching. That's all. So this woman, like many others, are wondering what is going on with blonde hair, blue-eyed white women with blonde hair and blue eyes. Not a TurboTax ad. And I haven't done my taxes yet. Blonde hair, blue eyes. So everybody's wondering this. Why are men going out targeting white women with blonde hair and blue eyes? And I saw a take from who I think is a great TikToker. She's apparently a PhD. So she's a doctor, and she works in, I believe, social work. I forgot what an MSW is. Master of Social Work. So she works in social work. But she actually had a take that I highly agree with. And she has some proof to back it up. So we're going to play her video and then we're going to comment on it. This is the last one we're going to watch before we get more into it.
So here's a real world example that shows the differences between the ways in which society views violence against white women versus the way that we view it against black women.
Also, for people who aren't watching, on the screen, there's a caption that says, "This Trump supporter assaulted this black woman multiple times and police did nothing." He's literally standing there antagonizing her in front of police. So yeah, in case you're a listener only. This, by the way, is the same man who was just arrested recently for punching a white woman in the face.
Democrat voter. Yeah, hold on, man. She's a Democrat voter.
And yes, he was calling her a Democrat. He calls himself Trump supporter, I think. And he was like recording her during this interaction and kind of teasing and antagonizing her in front of the police after assaulting her. The police, for some reason, are acting like she is crazy as he continues to egg her on from the sidelines while they apparently do nothing. So
Hi, girl who got punched in the face on Monday morning here. I know it's very shocking to believe that this is the same person. Okay, he really caught me in a bad moment here. Anyway, I wasn't going to talk about this situation again, but I do feel I have a responsibility to let the girlies of New York City know that the man who assaulted me has been arrested. This is him. The New York Post wrote a whole article about it. You
this is the woman we just watched, by the way, who had the big knot on her head.
can pause to read this, or you can just search the article. The NYPD got surveillance footage from the stores where the scene of the crime happened. They called me in, they took statements from me, and he was arrested today. They were very on it and helpful, and obviously they arrested him very quickly. So I do highly encourage any of the girls who have also been assaulted, please make sure if this happens to you, report it to the police and try to remember as much detail as you possibly can where it happened.
Also on the screen for our listeners again. Conversely, police swiftly acted and arrested him after this white woman was also assaulted, despite the fact that they still had to find him.
If you can get a photo of them, that'd be amazing. I remembered barely anything. The police were still able to narrow it down. But yeah, that's the last and final update of this situation. Hopefully, girls out there, stay safe.
So even though this derelict predator who's been stalking, harassing women on the streets of New York was
Also on screen, we do not treat violence against Black women with the same care or seriousness as we do when white women are victims.
standing right there in front of the cops, actively engaged and still antagonizing and recording and stalking this Black woman. The police did absolutely nothing. They did absolutely nothing. They didn't talk to witnesses. They didn't say anything to him. They did absolutely nothing to protect her, to calm her down. They did absolutely nothing. Conversely, when the white girl says, I've been hurt, I've been harmed, the police looked at surveillance videos. They believed her. They took a statement from her, even though she says she could barely remember anything that happened. They were still able to investigate it, collect the data that they needed, the evidence that they needed, and act on it. And they snatched him up and got him off the street. Now he's a derelict. He is a Trump supporting derelict. He needs to be off the street. There's no question about that. And I'm so glad that they found him and they handled it. But if you think for 1 second that these two cases were treated equitably, then you're part of the problem, because they were not. When Black women say we're hurting, we're harmed, we need help, our cries are invisible. The reason why that sister was so activated, she was hurt. You could hear the fear and the terror in her voice. She said he hit her multiple times. He was harassing her, recording her, and hit her multiple times. She tried to escape him, and he followed her. He proceeded to follow her to the other side of the train station. And when she pushed his phone away, he hit her multiple times. Now, as far as I understand, that's assault, but he wasn't arrested in that moment. They did nothing to him. They let him go. But Hallie, when she went to the police and said, this happened to me, without even knowing who he is, where he's from, how to find him, they looked at surveillance video and they were able to track that man down and they got him off the streets, right?
Yes, Caprice, the Black guy recording in the video that we watched right before the white woman's video we just watched was the attacker. He also has several videos of him harassing women, which we'll go through as well.
That's the difference. That's the difference. And just like on this app, where we've seen in the last 72 hours or so, the voices of white women who share their stories about being the victims of violence have been amplified. Haley alone, I think she received something like 50 million views on her one video about the assault. 50 million views, right? That is intentional. TikTok is pushing that content out into the world, right? Because that is the story that is a lived experience that we're all conditioned to care about, right? So yeah, just pay attention. When you see these stories from Black women, help to amplify their voices, help to share it, help to raise awareness. You could even see the woman cop in the video. You could tell that she knew exactly why this Black woman was so upset. You could see it on her body. She knew exactly what was going on. And I could also tell that she felt helpless in that moment.
So I think this was an excellent video. And this is Phenomenal Dr. PhD on TikTok, in case you guys are interested in her channel. I'm looking for the one we just watched. And she has a lot of bangers. She has The Power of White Women, Tears. She has a lot of bangers. I'm just looking for the one we just watched though.
You guys, I was literally.
And this video only has 300 and something likes. And again, the video that she stitched has like 50 million views and some crazy amount of likes of the white woman being punched in the face. So I would like this voice to be amplified, especially in the Black community, because I feel like people genuinely do not understand that this is actually happening to Black women. People just don't care. People just do not care until it happens to a white woman. So this was my theory, and I'm glad that she articulated it much better than I could have without watching her video first. So please do go and give her props. Let me zoom in on her name just in case y'all did not see it. We don't steal from Black women over here. So anywho, I was very interested in this phenomenon because the idea that this is something I saw in my feed. And if you're a white person, let me first say, I think in America, whiteness is considered the default. And the idea that permeates everything, including our TikTok feed, including television as well, because it's not just like TikTok where people tell their stories about being hurt or harmed in some way. But I remember like on TV, they used to do stories like this as well. Probably not used to. I'm sure TV still exists for people over 35. But for us young people, no, we're all on like Fire Stick and TikTok now. So TikTok has become what TV used to be, but on TV, yeah, they used to run news stories, same thing, about women who have experienced some violence or something like that. And they would come on and talk and tell their story, or women who were being kidnapped. And I always remembered white women specifically being the ones who go missing, to the point where it was like a running joke in the Black community, at least where I grew up. I'm not sure about you guys, but it was like a running joke. Like, this week, some white woman has gone missing. What is going on with white women? Why are they out jogging at 3 a.m? Or it was a whole inside joke. Call it inappropriate if you want to. I was young. It was a different time. Thoughts and prayers for that young man and the people I was around. But as I grew up, what I realized, especially after, wasn't there a study, was it out of Chicago? Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm pretty sure there was a study that showed that like trafficking victims in Chicago were a majority of Black women, even though they make up like 13% of the population. Let me see if I'm able to pull that up. Oh no, they want me to they want me to not have advertisements. They want me to turn my ad blocker off. No thanks. Anyway, so the title of this article, if you guys are interested, is Black Women Hit Hard by Crime in Chicago. And it's just an article about collected data on crime. So if I can go down to the percents, why they got the pop-ups all on the, so what is the ad blocker doing if the pop-ups all on the page? Anywho, Black women accounted for about 1 in 4 crime victims in Chicago, despite making up only 16% of the city's population. So already there's a large disparity there, right? And that doesn't make sense for population size. But it becomes more pronounced when accounting for reported crimes with race data only and excluding crimes without a clear victim, like retail theft, right? So I'm trying to think of how to explain victimless crimes versus crimes with more clear victims, right? If you go to Walmart and you steal some fruit, you didn't necessarily hurt an individual Black or white person, or like it's difficult to decide who is the victim of this crime. So in crimes where it's easier to decide something, like one person hurts another person or steals from an individual, right? It's when we narrow down to those crimes that have clear victims, the ratio is 1 in 3, according to this data. This is in Chicago, by the way. I'm not sure what the data is holistically on the entire United States, but I do know that Black women are, it's similar. I do know it's similar as far as Black women making up a small percent of the population, but accounting for a over-indexing in most categories of crime. So what I was looking for specifically here was trafficking, because I was really surprised with the numbers here. To kind of go through some of this. There were about 1,600 sexual assault victims in 2022. Black women made up about 40% of the victims. This trend held true for most violent crimes in the city. Black women were the most victimized group in Chicago last year, accounting for 35% of assaults, 38% of batteries, 34% of 146 kidnappings, and half of the 19 human trafficking victims. That was the part that was really shocking to me. I remember reading this part of this article, this same article, I think months ago, and this part was extremely shocking to me because this is, again, what was it, 13% of the population, but makes up 50% of human trafficking victims. And that's something that's crazy to think about. That is something that's crazy to think about, as well as 34% of the kidnappings, right? So when I'm thinking about what I would see on TV and what I might see on now TikTok or Facebook or YouTube or wherever you get your news from now, that people are less on TV and more on social media. Overwhelmingly, it feels like white women are represented, right? And I want to bring this back to the fact that there are several videos, more videos than I can count, that are asking the question, why are blonde hair, blue-eyed white women being attacked and targeted in New York City? And I'll refer back to Dr. C, PhD, Master of Social Work, phenomenal Dr. PhD on TikTok. They are not being targeted. If anyone's being targeted, most likely it's Black women. However, that's not reflected in who the news chooses to cover. That's not reflected in who the news chooses to cover. So I am in overwhelming agreement with this woman again. I'll put her on the screen again, because just from my personal experience, which is not good to go off of, by the way, it's not good to go off of anecdote generally. Just from my personal experience, I tend to see white women talked about more and covered more by news organizations, as well as by the general population when it comes to victims of crime. So, yes, this is also reported. This is also what's reported. And we're going to get into the research a little later in the stream, because Black women are also not likely to report stuff. And when they do report stuff, they're not likely to be taken seriously. So I do want to say I'm not just going off of my own anecdote. I had to make sure that my own personal experience and belief about this actually corroborates with the data, which it does. But we'll get into that. Thank you for the $2, Ariel. I don't know. Ariel CH, 122 watching and only 46 likes is a no. You are correct. Let me go and check the likes. I'm about to pull the video up. And it better be different by the time I get over there. It better be. Okay, y'all got that. Not a 50% increase before I even could click on the video to pull it up. Thank you. Yeah, be sure to leave a like if you're on your way in. Or a dislike. We can take criticism. I don't know why you would dislike at this point, but we can take criticism here. So to reiterate my point, I don't think it's only white women that this happens to. It's only white women who are taken seriously. And I want to quickly look at this man's history, by the way. I feel like I want to go through all the videos before we get into the main commentary instead of splitting it up at each point. Well, before we get into his history, let's pull up what I think is a good little news piece. This is from 2019, but I feel like it still holds true today. The legal system has failed Black girls, women, and non-binary survivors of violence. This is a little thick, so I feel like we can do the TikTok first. This is a little thick, so. I want to quickly pull up some people who went in and investigated him and found some interesting things on his channel. Unfortunately, I don't have the videos I wanted to show you, but I'm hoping that TikTok as a collective were able to do what they need to do, which I feel like they were able to, and collect some data for us about this man. So let's look.
Skabuki. This is the man who attacked Haley.
And his name is Skabuki, I think. Skabuki. He calls himself Marcus Garvey's grandson or something like this. And I believe he ran for governor. Lost, thankfully. But yeah.
And the other girl, M, posted her attacker. That was not Skabuki. We've seen Skabuki on Instagram and freaking TikTok. He invades people's personal spaces. Now, this is not his first go around with assaulting people. I don't know if his first case was an assault on a man or a woman, but he was going to court already for an assault case. TikTok, this is not doxing whatsoever. This information is public. If y'all want me to show you how to get it, I will do a detailed video with TikTok. This is not doxing. So this is the first case that he had in 2023. These are all his damn charges, assault. But with this case, they released him on his own recognizance. They didn't hold him and they didn't set a bail for him. Here's another case he had from last year going back and forth to court where he had aggravated harassment and they ROR'd him too. And this is the case against Haley, assault. But this time they are holding his ass, holding him real tight. Yeah, they holding him. They already gave him a bed in Rikers. He's on Rikers Island. I'll show you that in a minute. So there's a video I saw, and I said it's only homeless men. Skabuki don't fit that description. He's not homeless. Skabuki is not homeless. So now we got to get that out the way. It's not homeless men. It's men. Men, housed and unhoused. So they holding him right now.
I haven't seen this conversation, by the way, but apparently people were saying this is only homeless men who are doing this. And me personally, I don't feel like men experiencing homelessness are organizing crime. Y'all can say crime, but I don't feel like they're organizing it. I'm gonna say that. I don't feel like they're having a meeting to punch women. I don't feel like that. I feel like it's these men in houses. If I'm being honest, that's who I feel like is doing it.
No, they didn't give him a housing facility yet. They waiting, but he's on Rikers Island right now, patiently waiting for them to either he gonna bail out or he gonna be getting a little bed there soon.
And then this one kind of shows a little bit of what he was doing on his channel. Not the, by the way, one of many. Y'all can't hear it? It's not on mute. I'm not on mute either. Hold up. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's Maybelline. Y'all didn't hear any of it? Or it just like cut off in the middle? So we was just having a moment of silence and nobody was going to tell me. None of it? Wow. Okay, we're going to have to put this bad boy on 1.5. Let me know if you guys hear it now.
I was elated to find out that arrests had been made in connection with the New York City puncher. I was not shocked to find out that it was Kabuki, who goes around New York City and claims that he is related to Marcus Garvey, that he is actually...
You guys hear it now? Okay. So I was just sitting up here looking for 45 seconds and y'all wasn't gonna say. Okay. You figure out who your real friends are when times are tough.
Actually Marcus Garvey's grandson or great-grandson. I don't know who...
No, we're gonna talk about this because this is just like when I was 6 years old and my parents convinced me I was invisible. They convinced me I was invisible. Oh my God, where'd he go? And I'm just sitting there looking stupid. I done took all my clothes off and I'm running around the room invisible. I'm knocking stuff over like, oh my God, what's going on? All this stuff is falling over for no reason. Ooh. Meanwhile, my parents are recording a video of me that they play back at Christmas dinner every single year at Christmas dinner. Every single year. And I feel like if y'all want to just sit there and watch me, wait, are these when y'all say y'all can't hear it, is this like an April Fool's joke? Am I getting got? Okay, Sakara has 11% battery left, so we're gonna try and get her through at least this video. No more distractions.
If anyone has actually confirmed that, but that is what he says. About 2 years ago on TikTok, in fact, I saw Kabuki on my For You page. And when I saw his videos, I was first I would just say confused, because it was a man that was blatantly aggressive, going around claiming that he was Marcus Garvey's grandson. But I'm like, why would Marcus Garvey's grandson? Anyway, but I was just picking up that he was showing some red flags.
Wait, y'all can't hear now, or y'all couldn't hear before? Y'all can still hear it, right? Thank you for stopping by, Matt Max. Leave a like before you go to class. So y'all can't hear it. Y'all can hear it. Okay, look, put a 1 if y'all hear it. Put a 2 if you don't.
That he might do something unhinged, that he might be a threat to society, straight up. So that's enough yapping from me. You guys go watch the videos and you can clearly feel the energy coming from the video that he may be an unsafe person to be around at night.
Now let me put it back on regular speed. Okay, everybody can hear. Thank you.
Atlantic Avenue, Barclays Center.
Oh, that's right. Just sit up. I see you got a fresh cut, baby girl. It's me, Kabuki, Marcus Garvey, great-grandson. I'm running for governor. Princess, watch that food that you're eating, man. It's that white people food now. I'm Kabuki, Marcus Garvey grandson. I don't want you to be crying like Snoop Dogg wife. Okay? Because y'all eat a lot of stuff and then want people to feel sorry for y'all. Have fun.
Democrats! Fuck the Democrats! The devil is their daddy! I'm Marcus Garvey, great-grandson. I'm Kabuki! I'm running for city council under the Freedom Party! Eat my ass done!
Now, what energy do you pick up in that video? Because
By the way, these were tame. I went to this man's channel and watched a lot of his catalog. The videos she just showed were tame. This man will, for people who aren't watching and just listening, this man will get up on women, all up on them in their personal space, put his phone in their face, record them, and F with them. That's the best way to describe it. He Fs with them. and eggs them on and antagonizes them in public. And if you guys remember the video we watched from Dr. CPHD's channel, Phenomenal Dr. PhD, she showed us a video of this black woman who this man was following around and harassing. And when she shoved his camera out of the way, he started putting hands on her. So it feels like this man has a history. He's put his hands on at least two people that we know, right? At least two people that we know, the black woman in that video, as well as the white woman who filed the charges and the police came and arrested him so quick while they were ignoring that black woman. But it feels like this man is purposefully getting in people's face, antagonizing them, waiting for them to just so much as touch him so that he can put hands on them. Excuse me, not people, women.
I only get unhinged. I only get flight or fight senses are now activated if I was around him. That's what I got. And then I commented on the video.
Okay, y'all are getting ads. Hold up. I've never asked you guys. I don't ask you guys generally during the video. So I don't know if y'all are getting the same amount as generally, or if this is your first time getting them. Okay, let me know if you continue to get them. I've never had an ad during a live stream until now, more than ever. Okay. Data collected. Thank you.
When I first saw him, because he was being really aggressive to this black woman, and I'm like, you're claiming that you're Marcus Garvey's grandson. That's contradictions already. But I commented like, this seems like really aggressive, and somebody replied to my comment like, well, this is Marcus Garvey's grandson. I don't understand how that he doesn't get any stock in like politics. He doesn't get any stock like morally, because he's Marcus Garvey's grandson, and we don't even know if that's confirmed. The ultimate point that I'm making is that the signs have been there that he's unhinged, and we let it go on. I'm gonna say we, but you know, it's gone on for 2 years. I hate that it had to get to a point where he literally put his hands on multiple people for it to now be recognized as a problem.
Nope, not put his hands on multiple people for it to be recognized as a problem. Put his hands on a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman specifically.
And the signs were there. And if he really is Marcus Garvey's grandson, look what you've now done to this man's legacy. All these years later, his now grandson is attributed to going around New York City as a free black man and punching white women in the head. Kudos to you.
So even this creator is guilty of it. I'm not mad at her, by the way, but she slides it in at the end. Why is this man going around punching white women in the head? So there are a lot of people unaware that this is happening to black women too, and it's happening to them first. Nobody cares. The police can be right there while she's screaming at them. This man just hit me, put this camera in my face. He's recording me and antagonizing me while you're right here looking at me like I'm crazy. And the police just gonna continue to look at her like she's crazy and not make any arrest until he puts his hands on the white woman. So that's the last video for now. What I wanted to discuss was, I'll put this back on the screen because I think it's important. What I wanted to discuss was Phenomenal Dr. PhD's thoughts on this, right? And her thoughts, I believe, support my thoughts that black women in femmes aren't allowed to be victims, right? Not only are they more likely to be abused, we just went into the Chicago study, but we can also go into, this is from ACLU, and again, it's titled, "The Legal System Has Failed Black Girls, Women, and Non-Binary Survivors of Violence." And this article talks about the fact that, number one, they go into this docuseries, Surviving R. Kelly, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard about, right? Probably. And this describes, it's a 6-part docuseries that describes decades of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse that he allegedly, not so allegedly anymore, right? This article came out a couple years ago, y'all. but perpetrated against Black girls and women. And it talks about the fact that many of R. Kelly's fans and supporters continue to rally around him, and even place blame on his accusers for being fast. Remember, some of his accusers are children. Here's a article related to that. This is the article that links to, and it's titled "People Called Out for Blaming R. Kelly's Alleged Underage Victims." Look at Mark Lamont here. I've seen this man around increasingly, the guy on the right, Mark Lamont Hill. I haven't seen anything bad yet, so this isn't an endorsement. I'm just saying I see him around a little bit. He's never doing anything wrong when I see him, so. But since the Lifetime docuseries Surviving R. Kelly aired, social media debates surrounding the troubling allegations have been at an all-time high. While some people, such as Master P, have blamed the parents of the alleged victims, others have gone as far as to blame the victims. By the way, I don't have an issue with people placing some blame on the parents. I'm always going to place the blame on R. Kelly, because it doesn't matter if you leave your child around. If I leave my child around my uncle, nothing's going to happen unless there's a problem with my uncle. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm always going to place the blame on whoever's doing it. But I absolutely understand considering the parents negligent, especially in this case, because I remember this case, people saying that the parents were like, look, all I'm gonna say is I don't know what's going on with parents and these rich singers, but you would never, if your child is in Michael Jackson's bed as a 5-year-old, I feel like I can absolutely place some blame on the parents. Absolutely. But this isn't about Michael Jackson. That was just a comparison for y'all to understand. I don't know what's going on with parents and singers. That's all. After the docuseries aired, it didn't take long for some people on Twitter to call several of the women who took part in the series fast. We all understand the term fast to mean that a young girl is dressing or acting too mature beyond her years. Some have implied that these girls, who were minors, knew what they were doing when they became involved with R. Kelly. Y'all still talking about R. Kelly. This is a quote. Y'all still talking about R. Kelly. In my opinion, the little girls was wrong too. They fast A-word had no business around no grown A-word man, and they parents dead A-word wrong too. My mama didn't play that ish. I couldn't even wear shorts around men for real. That actually makes me sad. That actually makes me sad because this sounds like a broken person. I don't know this person, by the way, but this sounds like a broken person who now is probably going to create that type of brokenness in her children, is spreading that type of brokenness on the internet. And the thought that you can't wear shorts around men growing up, and your thought process as an adult is that if some girls are wearing shorts, for example, then they're basically asking for it and they're just fast. And what were you doing around a grown man anyway? That doesn't sound like something a normal person would tweet, in my opinion. A healed person, a mentally well and sound person would tweet. So that just makes me sad, y'all. That makes me very sad. After enough people seemingly blamed the victims, former CNN commentator and author Mark Lamont Hill took to Instagram to drag everyone for calling the teenage girls fast. He says, ain't no teenage girl fast enough to catch a grown man that ain't attracted to children. And he captioned that for those blaming the children harmed by R. Kelly. Someone replied to him and said, no one was blaming the children. People are blaming the parents. No, fake news. And he said, no one? That's ridiculous. Numerous folks have said those girls knew what they were doing or they looked fast. Just search social media. And that's where this article ends. So back to our original article. Back to our original article at ACLU. So people are placing blame on his accusers, who are children, some of them, for being fast. And this is not surprising. Studies have shown that Black girls, women, and non-binary people are hyper vulnerable to abuse. 22% of Black women in the US have experienced R, and Black women are unalived at a higher rate than any other group of women. A 2015 survey of Black, trans, and non-binary individuals found that 53% have experienced sexual violence and 56% have experienced DV. At least 16 Black trans people were reportedly unalived in 2018 alone. When abuse occurs, they are less likely to be believed and less likely to be supported. A report published by Georgetown Law Center, does that sound familiar, guys? Found that adults view Black girls as less innocent and more adult-like than their white peers. Black girls are perceived to be more independent, more knowledgeable about sex, and in less need of protection. And when we click on the link to the report that they're talking about, it is actually Girlhood Interrupted, with you, which you guys should be familiar with because we've talked about it here before. But Girlhood Interrupted, the erasure of Black girls' childhood, talks a lot about adultification in Black girls, in particular, in the fact that, thank you, Alicia. We knew that. Yeah, we already knew that. And I think this was a great read for me because it makes me understand how a lot of research connects to other research, and how research can reference, some research can reference different research that I'm not explaining it well. I'm just saying I like the way that things are connected. And the more you find out that things are connected, the more things start to make sense, or whatever Cat Williams said in this interview. But if you guys haven't read that, I do recommend you guys go and read that study. It's about 23 pages long, and some of the pages are blank. Some of the pages are blank. Let's see if we can quickly go through maybe the conclusion, just so we can get a brief summary, since that's not necessarily the topic for today. Conclusion. While a full exploration of potential implications of adultification lies beyond the scope of this report, consequences may be found in other public sectors as well. For example, adultification may play a role in the child welfare system, which is based on the foundational principle of serving to nurture and protect youth. Authorities in this system, who view Black girls as more independent and less needing of nurture and protection, may assign them different placement or treatment plans from white girls. Regardless of the specific context, all Black girls are entitled to and deserve equal treatment, including equal access to the protections that are accepted as necessary and appropriate for children. Recognizing the bias underlying the adultification of Black girls is an important step toward that goal. New studies are needed to determine the causal links between adultification of Black girls and punitive treatment in child-serving public sectors, and to investigate differences in results among the various age brackets. Further research should also examine whether the same or similar forms of bias is manifested against other girls of color. The results of such research could help inform the development of training and shape the contours of policy and practice reform. The results of our research suggest that Black girls bear the brunt of a double bind. Viewed as more adult than their white peers, they may be more likely to be disciplined for their actions, and yet they are also more vulnerable to the discretionary authority of teachers and law enforcement than their adult counterparts. As Olson writes, liminal children are viewed as dependent, limited rights bearing subjects, while at the same time imbued with adult characteristics such as sexual maturity, individual agency, and criminal responsibility. Thus, they are directed into rather than out of the juvenile justice system. Only by recognizing the phenomenon of adultification can we overcome the perception that innocence, like freedom, is a privilege. In my opinion, that did not summarize this research well at all. I would still recommend y'all go and read the full thing. Completely recommend. Back to our original article. Importantly, the same perception follows them into adulthood. A juror from R. Kelly's 2008 CP trial, where Kelly was acquitted, said that he didn't believe testimony from Black women because of how they dressed and, quote, the way they act. Let's pull that up. Never mind. They want me to create an account. No, thank you. No, thank you. Let me see if I can find a different article. I want to see who made that quote. I don't know if they're going to identify him. But if they do, I just have questions. Maybe he would be interested because in an interview, because I'd like to know, what is it about Black women and how they dress and the way they act that makes you not believe their testimonies? That would be an interesting question that I would like an answer to. These perceptions boil down to a disturbing reality. Black women, girls, and non-binary people are seldom seen as victims. Instead, they are seen as deserving of harm or unable to be harmed. This perpetuates a long legacy of impunity for violence against Black women, girls, and non-binary people. I want to bring our attention again back to the girl on the subway. Let me pull this video back up because y'all have forgot by now. I'm sure y'all have forgot by now. I didn't forget, but I'm sure y'all forgot, and I don't want y'all to forget. So let me pull this video back up so that it's fresh.
You crazy. Yeah, okay. But he is a crazy person who is still recording me. Why are you trying to talk to me and act like I'm crazy? No, I'm talking to everybody on this track to hear me. Because I'm sick of people treating me or anybody else like her.
And by the way, I don't think she sounds crazy for this. The idea that someone assaults you and continues to follow you around and record you, and the police are here doing nothing and saying you look crazy is wild to me. Recall what we just read. Black women, girls, and non-binary people are seldom seen as victims. Instead, they are seen as deserving of harm or unable to be harmed. I want y'all to think for a second about the idea of a white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes coming to the police and screaming erratically that this man just attacked me. And I want to understand from y'all perspective if you feel like there would be a difference. I don't need to know y'all perspective, by the way, because the research already lets us know that there is. She's irritated, frightened, frustrated, everything in one. What she's supposed to react like. Because I have never seen a white woman calmly go to the police ever in my life. Ever. I have seen, these are the craziest videos. I have seen white women, and there will be like a black person grilling in a park. Grilling in a park, y'all. And the white woman get on the phone and call the police. He doesn't have a permit. I don't know what he's here to do. I don't, what if he has a weapon? I have never seen a white woman calmly speak to the police. Yes, sir, this man just assaulted me and he's recording me and following me around. Please help. I've never seen that. So it feels unusual to me, the type of luxury white women are afforded to be able to go to the police and be scared and frustrated. But for black women, apparently, you can't even get an arrest. When someone assaults you, you have to wait for him to do it to a white woman a week later.
Democrat voter.
By the way, I hate men who get a camera out after they do some effed up ish and then start recording. I remember, what was it, Danny Lee and the baby or somebody? And this man had his camera out. Why are you acting so crazy? Why are you acting so strange? While she's just hysterical, and this man then went off on her before he turns the camera on. The man in the video who's turning the camera on himself, by the way, is Skiboki, or whatever his name is. And he has just assaulted this woman seconds ago, but he's on the video nonchalant and egging her on. And she looks erratic. This is just why I don't trust videos when people come on calm and collected while one other person is erratic and we haven't seen what happened prior.
Democrat voter.
And it looks like she just walks off, and that's the end. She gets beat up, and then she just has to walk off because the police don't care. So back to our article. Once again, these perceptions boil down to a disturbing reality. Black women, girls, and non-binary people are seldom seen as victims. Instead, they are seen as deserving of harm or unable to be harmed. This perpetuates a long legacy of impunity for violence against Black women, girls, and non-binary people. Also, this links to an analysis on Centoya Brown and R. Kelly, and talks about the refusal to recognize Black and brown female victims is the title of the article. If you guys don't know who Centoya Brown is, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe this is the woman who unalived the man who R'd her. I think he might have been trafficking her as well. Let me do a quick Google. Okay. So, Centoya Brown, American author and speaker who was convicted of murder and robbery at the age of 16. Brown, who was a victim of child X trafficking at the time of the incident in 2004, claimed that Johnny Allen had paid her $150 to have X with him, and she feared for her life during their encounter, leading her to pew him. And she was given life imprisonment for that. But this went popular apparently in 2013. I don't remember it being that long ago, but this like story blew up, and the governor commuted her original sentence to 15 years, and she was released 5 years ago. Oh, she has a documentary, Me Facing Life, Centoya's story. Maybe I could look at that. Let's see about this article, though. Centoya Brown says she was forced into prostitution when she was 16, scared for her life when she shot Johnny Allen, a 43-year-old who picked her up for sex in 2004 at a Tennessee Sonic. Okay, maybe I could have just read this article instead of the Wikipedia. My bad. Read first, guys. She was tried as an adult and given a life sentence for first-degree murder and aggravated robbery, which was commuted Monday by Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam. Wow, they really summarized it here. Really didn't have to open that other page, I guess. Could have just read. Oops. But he said in a statement that her rehabilitation in young age warranted mercy. I think that's important because she was a child and she was being trafficked, but she was Black, or a person of color, excuse me. I don't know if she's Black, but she's definitely not white. And due to that, I feel like people looked at her and were like, clearly this was premeditated. And what's the word? I feel like this would be, if this was a white woman, I feel like this would be an uplifting story that feminists herald as like the woman. Like she took back power against the man who took it from. Like I feel like we would be seeing a whole different side of this if this were a white woman. These are just my feelings, by the way. I can't confirm this. I don't know how people would react if a white woman did this, except I do, because we have data. But anyway, they looked at her case again and said she deserves mercy, which might be something they should have decided when there was a 16-year-old person of color in that courtroom. What Haslam didn't mention was the violence Brown said she experienced leading up to that moment, and that didn't go unnoticed by the advocates who helped catapult Brown's case to national stage. It's a travesty that he does not address the crimes that happened to her, says Tanya Lovelace, CEO of Women of Color Network, Inc., an initiative that works to end violence against women, addressing the unique challenges facing women of color. Like, isn't that very convenient? This brown woman just killed a man for no reason, and we completely leave out the violence that occurred to her immediately prior to this. Very convenient, right? The point is that the actual crime here is the demand for girls, the child trafficking, and the statutory R that she endured. Lovelace and other advocates also noted that Brown's commutation came amid another national flashpoint on violence against women of color. The docuseries Surviving R. Kelly, which premiered January 3rd on Lifetime, made headlines this week alleging that Kelly physically and sexually abused scores of girls and women while the music industry turned a blind eye. Kelly denies the allegations. Such cases highlight a long history of women of color being victims of gender-based crimes without being treated as such by the justice system or society. A 1999 study found that girls of color who are victims of abuse are more likely to be caught up in the criminal justice system and labeled as offenders than white girls, who are more likely to be treated as victims and referred to child welfare and mental health systems. And I do want to say, when we were watching that video of the black woman on the subway who was losing her mind because the police were doing nothing after this man just assaulted her, I was very surprised to see her walk away. I legitimately thought these police might have made an example out of her and arrested her. I was legitimately worried she was going to walk away in handcuffs for getting loud with them. So the idea, again, this study shows that women of color who are victims of abuse are more likely to be labeled as an offender than white girls are. And white girls are more likely to be treated as victims and given access to child welfare as well as mental health systems. And this study in 1999 is about children, but what we know is that this does carry on into adulthood for Black women and women of color. It's all the same thread of truly not caring about the welfare of Black and brown girls, says Lovelace. I think it's all based in the concept of misogynoir, a particular kind of racism and sexism that Black women and girls experience, based on the idea that we can't be victimized. Though Brown was 16 when she was arrested, she told interviewers that she had been R'd and forced into prostitution. Prosecutors tried her as an adult anyway. Understandings of child X trafficking have evolved in the 15 years since. Whoa, this is a new one. A highly cited paper from Georgetown Law Center on Poverty and Inequality, Human Rights Project for Girls and Miss Foundation for Women, titled The Sexual Abuse to Prison Pipeline, found that in a perverse twist of justice, many girls who experience SA are routed into the juvenile justice system because of their victimization. Authors of the report say that child X trafficking is child sexual abuse, though many jurisdictions still view those victims as perpetrators. These girls are arrested on charges of prostitution, even though they are too young to legally consent to X. Though Brown's case received attention from celebrities such as Rihanna, Kim Kardashian, and Alyssa Milano, she's not unique. There are many other women, particularly women of color, who are incarcerated after experiencing abuse. A 2012 study published by the Justice Department's Bureau of Justice Statistics found that of incarcerated women, 86% reported being a victim of sexual violence, 77% reported a history of DV. A 2008 study of 60 incarcerated women found that nearly half had committed what could be considered defensive measures to stop abuse. The exact number of women and girls caught up in the criminal justice system for self-defense or self-preservation in violent situations is not known, says Sue Oshthoff, director of the National Clearinghouse for the Defense of Battered Women. No federal agency tracks those statistics. The question is, how many women are in prison for a crime that's related to a history of abuse? Some people would argue probably most of them. Women who committed violence are also sentenced to longer terms than men, said Sandra Morgan, director of the Global Center for Women in Justice at Vanguard University. Even when you look at trends of convictions of men who kill their spouses, men get shorter sentencing than women consistently, Morgan said. Part of it is that the element that women are supposed to nurture. If a woman kills a man, that somehow is more egregious than a man killing a woman. It's part of our societal imaging. It's more shocking, and juries don't know what to do with that. That is actually very interesting because I have heard this reference, I think from Themis actually, regarding the prison system and how a lot of men say that it's biased against men. However, it tends to be if you are stepping out of a crime that is aligned with your gender role or something like that. I can't recall exactly, but like this article says, the idea is that women are supposed to nurture. That's like a societal expectation that's placed on women. So women who like unalive their child or unalive their husband is considered egregious. However, men unaliving their wife, I think they got a whole law created where you can say, I just blacked out or saw red or something. I'm not saying that law pertains to men only. I'm just saying I think that's why it came about. Biases against women who take defensive action are ingrained in the American legal system and long-standing gender norms, Morgan said. That's where Marissa Alexander found herself in 2010 after firing a warning shot during an attack by her estranged husband in which she says she feared for her life. Though Alexander had a restraining order against her husband at the time and her shot caused no injuries. It was a shock to me, Alexander said. I didn't think I could get arrested that day. I would get arrested that day. I don't believe that what I did was a crime, so I was really shocked. It benefits you guys to know that Marissa Alexander is a Black woman. She's a Black woman and a mother of 3. So, and here highlighted on her page, which is titled Free Marissa Now. And she accepted a plea deal. This was a while ago, by the way. This was in 2014. Marissa Alexander's incarceration. Despite the fact that Marissa Alexander caused no injuries and has no previous criminal record, and despite the fact that Florida's self-defense law includes the right to stand your ground, she was arrested by Jacksonville police and charged with aggravated assault. She rejected a 3-year plea bargain because she maintained her innocence and right to defend her life. After 12 minutes of deliberation, a jury of 6 people convicted Miss Alexander on 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon with no intent to harm. Her sentence was set at 20 years, in part due to the state's mandatory minimum sentencing laws. Marissa Alexander successfully appealed the trial, luckily, overturned the guilty verdict on September 26, 2013. She was released on bond in November 27, 2013, and is now under home detention. I believe that might be over at the time of this video that we're doing, because this was in 2013. While under home detention, she must pay $105 every week for the use of an ankle monitor and $500 every other week for the bond cost. If she had been found guilty in a new trial, she faced a tripled mandatory sentence of 60 years for self-defense. In the latest status, as of November 24, 2014, Marissa Alexander accepted a plea deal with the state of Florida. The plea deal includes time served, which was 1,030 days, an additional 65 days in Duval County Jail, which will begin on that day in November, so it's over now, and 2 years of probation, which is over now, while serving house detention and wearing a surveillance monitor. This does not sound like Black women are allowed to be victims. That's not what it sounds like. The fact that your husband is assaulting you and you fire a warning shot and you go to jail. I want to look into her husband too. His name is Rico Gray. I'm not going to do that now because I don't want to get too off topic. But should we? I'm just trying. I'm like skimming through this article on him. I just want to see if he was arrested. He does have a history of abuse and has been arrested twice previously and has put her in the hospital before for beating her. He admitted in a sworn statement that he was the aggressor, threatened her life, and was so enraged that he did not know what he would do. Rico Gray also described his beatings of other women with whom he was involved. This is the man, by the way, who was attacking this woman who was arrested for defending herself and was given a minimum sentence of 20 years. This doesn't sound like Black women are allowed to be victims in the criminal justice system. That's not what it sounds like to me. Maybe you guys are interpreting this differently. That's always a possibility. I'm always open to different perspectives, but this doesn't sound like Black women can be victims to me. That's not what it sounds like. Like when I say that we were watching this video earlier, all of us together, I think you're all still in here. When we were watching this video of this Black woman on the subway who pushed this man's camera away because he got in her face, and y'all saw them other videos of how close he likes to get to women and how he likes to antagonize them and be all up on them in their personal space. And when she pushed his phone away, this man decided to put his hands on her, and the police decided to do nothing except look at her like she's crazy. I absolutely believe she was, I really thought she was going to be in handcuffs. The fact that it was surprising to me that she was able to walk away says something. It says something, right? But I just want to quickly see, was this man arrested? Gray admitted in his deposition there had been about 4 or 5 incidents of domestic violence with Alexander prior to the shooting incident, including when he pushed her back and she fell in the bathtub and she hit her head. He said she went to the hospital and he went to jail for that. In describing his abuse of another woman, he said she just wouldn't shut up, so he hit her in the mouth. Asked about another woman he had a relationship with, Gray said she got hit in the mouth, same thing. As for the day of the shooting incident, he says when he saw text on Alexander's phone, he pushed his way into the bathroom to confront her. He said in the deposition, I was mad, you know. I said, what the F is this? And you know, I told her that if I can't have you, nobody going to have you. She ain't ish. Gray said that when she tried to leave the bathroom, I met her where the sink was and she wanted to get by me and I wouldn't let her. And I was backing up slow, but I was using my body to pretty much contain her in that one area where I want her to be at. This is the man who she fired the gun at, by the way. This is his, it's not his testimony, it's his deposition. Yes, there is a paper trail. Yes, he admitted he was blocking her in the bathroom. Yes, he admitted he put his hands on her 5 times before. Yes, he admitted he put his hands on other women before. She fired a gun at him, didn't hit him, and she was threatened with 20 years in jail. She rejected a 3-year plea bargain to go back. She rejected a 3-year plea bargain because she maintained her innocence and right to defend her life. After 12 minutes of deliberation, a jury of 6 people convicted Miss Alexander of 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon with no intent to harm. Her sentence was set at 20 years, in part due to the state's mandatory minimum sentencing laws. Marissa Alexander successfully appealed the trial, overturning the guilty verdict in September 2013. She was released on bond in November 2013 and was under home detention. While under home detention, and tell me if this sounds fair. Luckily, she didn't get 20 years. Does this sound fair? She has to pay $105 every week for the use of an ankle monitor and $500 every other week for the bond cost. And when she went and did an appeal after she was found guilty, if they had found her guilty again, she would have faced a tripled mandatory sentence of 60 years for self-defense. Like, I'm trying to get into her mind, the idea that they're giving me 3 years as a bargain after I'm being attacked in my bathroom and can't leave. 3 years, and I say I'm innocent and was defending myself, and after 12 minutes, they decide, look, we're going to give you 20 years. I would have been scared to appeal. Can you imagine talking to your lawyer and saying 20 years is insane. I'm going to appeal this. And your lawyer says, well, if you lose the appeal, you're getting 60 years. I might not even go to trial. If I went to a trial where someone is then assaulted me 5 times, is currently in the middle of assaulting me again, is talking about if I can't have you, nobody will, won't let me leave, and I get found guilty, I might not go back to trial because I'd be scared to get 60 years. I'm just trying to see this from her perspective. He said, if I can't have you, nobody going to have you. She ain't ish. Grace said that when she tried to leave the bathroom, I met her where the sink was. She wanted to get by me. I wouldn't let her. I was backing up, but using my body to contain her in that one area where I wanted her to be at. She got the bathroom door closed and she locked it, so I was beating on it. I was there waiting for her to come out the bathroom. So it looks like she pushed him out, at least, and locked herself in the bathroom. I was in a rage. So I was saying a lot of things. I beat on the door hard enough to where it could have broken open. It probably has some dents in it. And I was mad. I called her a garden tool and a B word. She was trying to get by, and I was sitting there trying to make her talk to me. The more she didn't want to talk about it, the more I was not letting her by. After she got out of the bathroom, I was telling her she ain't going nowhere. She going to sit right here. She was trying to get by, and I was telling her she ain't going nowhere. I'm actually going to save the rest of this. I feel like this should be an entirely separate live stream. An entirely separate live stream. This is crazy to me. And this is what he's willing to tell the police. So I feel like it was worse. Y'all know what they say about somebody doing something in public. In private, it's much worse. If this is what you feel comfortable saying to the police, I can't imagine what you're doing in private. To go back to the article that brought us here, this is just discussing a bias in the legal system against women who take defensive action against their abuser. Yes, there is a discrepancy, a disparity when it comes to Black women versus white women. This goes back into her trial. Her case garnered national attention as it played out in conjunction with that of George Zimmerman, who was tried and cleared in 2012 of the fatal shooting of Trayvon Martin. Zimmerman's defense lawyers argued he shot in self-defense, and the stand your ground law played a part in the way the police approached the initial investigation. That's crazy. That's crazy for George Zimmerman to get away with the stand your ground law, and this woman doesn't, and this is around the same time. That's crazy. I would be fuming. Alexander was found guilty of 3 counts. And you know what's crazy? The only thing I remember this story, the only thing I've ever read about this story was like the headline that said, woman shoots a gun in the air as a warning shot and gets facing prison time or something like that. That's the only thing I know about this specific incident. That's the only thing I remember ever reading about this. The fact that I went into the details and it is so much more gross than the headline could ever convey is wild to me. Alexander was found guilty with 3 counts of, we've read that. She successfully appealed in 2013 and 2014, took a plea deal for time served plus 65 days in prison and 2 years probation. Alexander says that from her initial arrest, despite her husband's documented history of domestic violence, she doesn't believe she was perceived as a victim of domestic abuse. I really feel like This is the woman who was facing 20 years, by the way, for defending herself. I really feel like people didn't feel like, as a Black woman, I had the right to defend myself, Alexander said. In my experience, it's the perception that, especially being a Black woman, that we're aggressive and that we're angry. Alyssa Beria, an assistant professor in the Department of Ethnic Studies at the University of California, Riverside, says the prosecutor in Alexander's case made it clear that she viewed Alexander as angry rather than fearful, and that impacted the decision on her stand your ground defense. Black women in this country have never been allowed the full spectrum of human emotions and human identity, and that includes their access to the identity of survivor, says Beria. Even in the wake of the Me Too movement, which was started by Tarana Burke 10 years ago to give voice to Black girls who have been the victims of abuse, stories of women and girls of color often took a back seat in the media to those of white women. Allegations against Kelly had been reported by media outlets for nearly 2 decades prior to the premiere of Surviving, as Kelly continued to produce chart-topping hits and work with some of the biggest names in the music industry. In 2000, the Chicago Sun-Times reported allegations of Kelly having sexual relationships with underage girls, including details of a lawsuit filed by Tiffany Hawkins in 1996, who claimed personal injuries resulting from a relationship with Kelly that started when she was 15. In July 2017, his alleged misdeeds returned to the headlines after a BuzzFeed news story claimed Kelly lures women into a cult-like sexual relationship. The singer denied the allegations, but a Mute R. Kelly campaign called for boycotts of his music and further investigation into his behavior in the months since. Let's see. The docuseries has prompted renewed interest by law enforcement in Atlanta and Chicago, as Cook County State Attorney Kim Foxx called the broadcasting allegations deeply disturbing. Yet, according to numbers released Thursday by Nielsen, album sales, song sales, and audio and video streams for the artist have spiked since the premiere. Lovelace says multiple layers of racism and sexism contribute to supporters buying Kelly's records, even in light of the allegations. This is across the board. This is not isolated to the mainstream or to white people or to white men who are engaging in this. Black and brown girls are vulnerable to everybody because some of the strong critics are Black women who are standing in solidarity with R. Kelly, Lovelace said. What you have is this internalized response to what's happening to our community, where we become protective to the degree that we disregard the most vulnerable among us. That is embedded in the initial roots of racism enacted upon us. This article is longer than I thought it was. I do want to point out, though, the idea that when R. Kelly, because they said that his album sales and his song sales and his audio and video streams spiked after Surviving R. Kelly. And coincidentally, I do recall, I'm glad there is data on this, because I do recall people coming out and saying, I'm still going to listen to his music. I'm still going to listen to Trapped in the Closet. I don't care. There were literally people coming out saying, I don't care. I'm still going to listen to it. That is wild to me. That is wild. The attitude is wild. Because isn't Dan Snyder on Nickelodeon having an expose right now? Do y'all see people over here talking about, I'm still watching iCarly. I don't care if he had them sucking each other's toes. I'm still gonna watch it. I'm still gonna watch Victorious. I don't care what he was doing with them kids. I'm still watching. I just don't see this conversation happening outside of when Black women are victims. I don't see this conversation outside of Black women victims. I don't see this conversation happening. I don't see it. I don't see anybody saying, I'm still watching Drake and Josh. I don't care. No, I see people saying that they are disgusted and they can't watch these shows the same. But when Black women are a victim, it's not enough. I still need to listen to Trapped in the Closet 1 through 64. Abba and Preach just made a video saying he still listens and doesn't give a F. I mean, that's what I expect from them. The bar is low. I expected them to. It is what it is. I don't know why y'all are surprised still. I don't know why y'all are surprised. Also, this was interesting to read. This is across the board. This is not isolated to the mainstream or to white people or to white men who are engaging in this. Black and brown girls are vulnerable to everybody because some of the strong critics are Black women who are standing in solidarity with R. Kelly. Lovelace said, "What you have is this internalized response to what's happening in our community where we become protective to the degree that we disregard the most vulnerable among us. That is embedded in the initial roots of racism enacted upon us." I feel like I read this last line. I must have completely skipped over this Black and brown girls line. I do not recall reading that at all. The article finishes by saying Alexander sees some promise in the current dialogue and in men who have been holding others to account. Chance the Rapper, I wonder how he's doing. I haven't heard from him in a while. Who said he was misquoted in Surviving, clarified later on Twitter that any of us who ever ignored the R. Kelly stories or ever believed he was being set up or attacked by the system, as Black men often are, were doing so at the detriment of Black women and girls. He added, "I apologize to all of his survivors for working with him and taking so long to speak." Alexander says that only through those hard conversations will we drive social change. Giving people the space to say, "We knew, but we are going to do better." That was a good step for him to say that it is the truth. I don't understand. Is Chance saying he didn't know if R. Kelly did this, or is he saying he knew but he didn't care and now he's apologizing for knowing but not caring? Because it sounds like the latter. Either way, I'm disgusted. It doesn't get a pass for me. I don't care about his apology. You should have apologized when it happened. Or excuse me, not apologize. You should have been you should have been a good person when it happened. Then you wouldn't have to apologize. This perpetuates a long, back to the original ACLU article. We're not going to read too much more just because it's getting late now. And I did, if anyone wanted to say something, you always have a voice to speak here. So I'll post a link just in case someone did want to add something as I go through the last bit of the article, which I'm just reading this, by the way, as part of my my personal belief that I believe is supported by data overwhelmingly, that Black women and femmes are not allowed to be victims. More likely to be abused, less likely to be believed, less likely to be supported, less likely to be covered. Even in Chicago, where they make up 50% of trafficking victims. The only Black woman I've ever seen gain notoriety for going missing is that woman who lied about the child on the highway. And y'all don't know how frustrating that is for the first Black woman I've ever seen go viral for going missing and get people talking about Black women missing, and then she lied. Because that made me feel like the already little support is now going to go away completely. People are definitely going to use this to say, "Oh, all Black women." Wasn't the child white? That might have been it. Maybe that was why. Maybe that was why. I don't remember what color the child was, allegedly. The imaginary child. But yeah, as Dan Snyder and his victims in the online discourse, right? I've seen it be very sympathetic towards those victims. I've seen its sympathy extended to all of the women who were on those shows. People are going back and finding clips from these shows where he is like, there is weird behavior for these children to be doing. He's placing himself in these shows doing weird things. There are some crazy allegations against this man. I recommend y'all go and look into them. Maybe we can in the future together. But the discourse around these victims has been sympathetic, even towards Drake, the guy. I don't know his real name. It might be just his real name might be Drake Bell. Let me see. Yep. Even towards Drake, who also has a history of abusing other people, to my knowledge, based on that court case. Now, some people are coming out and saying that Drake wasn't actually a perpetrator of abuse, and that the girl who he allegedly abused, which he admitted to apparently in court, actually lied about it all. And when I went to investigate this, because people were saying she came out and said he didn't do it, she just lied for attention. I haven't seen that from the victim's mouth. I have seen that from Drake's mouth and from Drake's lawyer. So yeah, that's what it sounds like someone who's being accused of abuse would do, is say that she's lying. So I need more proof. I need more proof. But even for him, people are having more sympathy. People are having more sympathy. Ladies, be vigilant and stay safe. Thank you, Voice of Reason, especially if you're in New York City. Especially if you're a Black woman in New York City specifically. Because y'all see how quickly this man was arrested? She made the video and the update to the video was like a day or two later. That's crazy. It might not have been a day or two. It might have been the video made itself to my news feed that day and the update was already out maybe, but it was quick. It was quick. I'm just saying though, I'm bringing up Dan Snyder and his victims because the sympathy towards those white women and that white man, who at the time were white girls and boys, right, children, has been very sympathetic. But when we recall the Black women victims and girls from the Surviving R. Kelly documentary, they were heavily scrutinized. They were heavily scrutinized. We even just read some of it. And even prior to that, when R. Kelly was charged with whatever the crime is for urinating on that child, I remember the conversation, if I recall correctly, around that was, she was 13. She could have just moved out the way. If she didn't want to be peed on, she could have just moved out the way. I remember there being a whole Boondocks episode where they literally reenacted the R. Kelly trial. And the people in the court case talking about, if she's 13, why don't she just move out the way? What does number 3 of your guidelines mean? I forgot. I wrote them like a week ago. I can't remember what they say. It's probably like be respectful or something. Welcome, V. I haven't seen you in a while. But so when we have this type of dichotomy, right, where white girls and children are being taken seriously when something happens to them and they find sympathy and they're able to engage in victimhood, and then we have Black women from R. Kelly and people are like, girl, if you didn't want to be in no sex dungeon, you could have just left. Y'all grown. You a grown woman. You could have just left if you didn't want to be there. Or even if you're a child, you're 13, you could have just moved out the way. Even the P. Diddy allegations, since that's popping off right now, of abuse towards Cassie, was turned into a debate. If I remember right, it was turned into a debate on whether or not she was lying, or why did she wait so long to bring this up? Why so many years? I'm not saying, by the way, that white women's abuse stories have never ever in the history been discredited ever and they are believed every single time. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying in general they are, and the research supports that, especially when we compare them to other races, and especially when we compare them to Black women. And that's not my opinion. That's well researched. That is well researched. Yeah, Riley. Drake Bell released a music video as soon as the documentary released and gained attention. Says it all. Yep. And he spun that narrative. The way I see people saying that Drake was actually a victim and he didn't do anything to that child and she was just lying based on Drake's word. That's crazy. That's crazy. Even someone who has victimized other people is allowed to be a victim. And we just read a story about a Black woman being cornered by a man who has a history of abusing her multiple times, has been arrested for abusing her, has been arrested for abusing other women. And she shoots and don't hit him in 20 years. That's crazy. When there's a whole man who has a history of doing some questionable things with children is finding sympathy. That's crazy. Sick, depraved, and disgusting. Yep. I believe that's all I have to say. I need to cool down a little bit. I'm like, The story about this woman literally being trapped in a bathroom hits really hard after we watched this black woman on a subway literally get assaulted and nobody do anything about it until until he hits a white woman and gets arrested the next day. They found him before she gave a description. Did y'all hear that? Let me see if I can find it. This white woman said, I don't even remember what he looked like, but they found him and arrested him. That was crazy. Can I find this video again? Again, this woman's channel has been great. Let me see if I can find the original. Okay, here it is. Oops, wrong one.
This is Kabuki. This is.
Why can't I find the video I want? Oh, here it is. I just want to watch the back-to-back because she played these two back-to-back. I want y'all to watch the difference one more time, and then we can move on from this.
You crazy. Yeah, okay. And everybody, I am fine. I am fine. But he is so crazy right now and still recording me. Why are you trying to talk to me and act like I'm crazy? No, I told you no. Everybody on this track can hear me. Because I'm sick of people treating me or anybody else like we're crazy when we ask for help.
Democrat voter. Yeah, hold on, man. She's a Democrat voter.
So to clarify once more, she was attacked on the train by this man who has a history of harassment to other women, has been arrested before for harassing other women. He followed her. She pushed his camera away. He put his hands on her. She tried to get away. He continued to follow her, continued to record her. The police doing what? Asking her why she's so crazy. Why are you being so crazy right now? Now let's watch the contrast.
Hi, girl who got punched in the face on Monday morning.
By the way, this woman was punched by the same man, in case you guys are coming in late.
Here. I know it's very shocking to believe that this is the same person. Okay, he really caught me at a bad moment here. Anyway, I wasn't going to talk about this situation again, but I do feel I have a responsibility to let the girlies of New York City know that the man who assaulted me has been arrested. This is him. The New York Post wrote a whole article about it. You can pause to read this, or you can just
Wrote a whole article. Anyway.
search the article. The NYPD got surveillance footage from the stores where the scene of the crime happened. They called me in, they took statements from me, and he was arrested today. They were very on it and helpful, and obviously they arrested him very quickly. So I do highly encourage any of the girls who have also been assaulted, please make sure if this happens to you, report it to the police and try to remember as much detail as you possibly can, where it happened. If you can get a photo of them, that'd be amazing. I remembered barely anything, and the police were still able to narrow it down. But yeah, that's the last and final update of this situation. Hopefully, girls out there, stay safe.
I barely remembered anything about him, but the police found him, luckily. Also, I have 50 million views on my videos. I'm not dragging this woman, by the way. I love it that people are allowed to be victims. I love that. But the contrast is so much different when the only time I have ever seen this black woman who was also assaulted by the same man is on this black woman's video. That barely has any views and barely has any likes, as we're stitching this white woman who got 50 views, and it happened quickly, y'all. She got these views like overnight. She has these articles written about her. It's going viral all over TikTok. Everybody is stitching, duetting her, and it's so much notoriety she's getting for this. I'm not upset at this, by the way. I'm just upset that this black woman wasn't afforded that luxury. Like, how did the police arrest this man before she told them a description? But when he's right here in front of the police and he has just harmed somebody, so I didn't see anyone click the link, so I assume none of you have anything to add. No, I didn't end the show. I just played the thing. So I guess so. Yeah, we're in our after show. Look, what more do y'all need to believe it? We went through the research today. We went and looked at some articles based on that research. We went and looked at some statistics regarding who's being attacked versus who's being covered. What more do y'all need? What more do y'all need to believe somebody? Welcome, Lee.
Hi. So I don't know if this was brought up because I caught half the chat. I mean half the thing and not all of it. But this reminds me so much of Soul on Ice. Was that brought up? Eldridge Cleaver? What's his name? Part of the Black Panther Party. I might be getting his name wrong. But what he did was, before he took it to white women and began R-ing white women, he first, quote unquote, practiced on Black women.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I just don't know his name.
Yeah. And so it reminds me of that, of how, while us, as I say us in the sense of a lot of Black women in your audience, we are so, and I guess part of it is double oppressed, right? We have Black men who, weaponize the fact that we are either choosing to be in community with them or forced to be community with them, right? And they use that to enact the harshest violence on us. And then they take it to the wider community if they're able to, if they're not too frightened, I guess, to do that. And then white people slap them back down. And, that's great, right? Like, I don't think 50 women should have to be punched in the face in order for someone to actually receive justice. But it is so horrible to have to live with your victimizer, to have to constantly be surrounded by your victimizer, knowing that more likely than not, they will never see justice unless they cross that white line. And it's awful. It's awful. And it's so frightening. Yep. Eldridge Cleaver. Someone put it in the chat. Thank you. But yeah. And that's also part of why I'm never going to be down on, the divestment girlies for the most part either, because I get the logic. When you're in fear of men in general, and Black men are so abnormally violent towards you, it can make you feel like, where do you go? Because Black men aren't going to champion your justice. And that's the thing. It's not just that Black men are going to harm you. They're not going to champion your justice. They're not going to want you to get justice. They're just going to sit there and either ridicule you or join in on it. And it's awful. It's just so awful. And seeing that lady in the train station, it's just so awful to see someone so pained, and she's an afterthought because she's Black and she's only worthy of violence,
Yes. And when you say, where do you go, that really resonates with me, because I'm pretty sure there were surveys that showed that Black women are even less, feel even less positively and less trustful of the police than even Black men do. According to some surveys, they feel like the police treat them less fairly even than Black men. Let me see.
And that's what Sunny Bunny said. That's the other person I was thinking of, Samuel Little. He killed so many Black women, and he wasn't caught for so many years. There's another story that I recently saw. 2 brothers who were Black men who were artists, and I'm pretty sure the same thing happened. I didn't see the victims, but based on their age and the fact that the bulk of their rapes ours took place in the 80s, I'm pretty sure they did the same thing. They start off with Black women, they do it until they get good at it, and then they expand to the greater society. And it's just so terrible. I don't even have anything to say. It's so incredibly awful. The amount and the depth of savagery Black women have placed at them at every stronghold. It's your neighbor, it's the repairman, and it's all I used to be very, very pro-Black, and I still very much believe in trying to better the Black community, but I don't think Black women should sacrifice themselves for it. We have sacrificed ourselves so much for it, and no one deserves the level of violence that we've received. I'm speechless at how maddening and how isolating it is. Yeah, because where can you go? Sure, you can leave the physical violence of a lot of the neighborhoods that are filled with Black men, but then you're going to the covert racism, depending on where you go with the white people, and granted, hey, I'll take covert racism any day. I'll take it over getting physically assaulted, right? But what's her name? That beautiful young lady, Oyen Tolu, who was homeless, and she was still going to the Black Lives Matter riots, and she wound up being assaulted and unalived by
What's her
an
name?
old Black man. Oyen Tolu. Oh, I'm getting her name wrong, but I feel like someone's gonna catch it. Let me Google it. Oyen. Oluwatoyin Salau. She was a Black Lives Matter activist who was unalived by a Black man. Another person who I used to love on YouTube. Her name was Nappy Queen Naps, Nap Queen. She has such a beautiful spirit. You could see through the camera. She was so community minded, and she was unalived by her abusive ex-boyfriend. Now, yes, there is intersection of domestic violence, interpersonal relationships versus the community relationship, but still, there's so much direct violence placed on Black women at every single turn,
I know. What was her name?
Which one?
You said Oluwatoyin Salau.
Yeah, Oluwatoyin I'm pretty sure that was her.
Yeah.
And
Just
I think
making sure, because this is my first time ever hearing about this story. I've heard about
really?
stories like this, by the way. I don't think this is uncommon, but this is the first time hearing about her
Wow.
name specifically. So yeah, I will read the article.
Yeah, that was an older case. It's crazy that it's been 4 years. Yeah.
5. Oh no.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Close.
My bad. I'm sorry. Okay. I need a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
I need a palate cleanser. I'm kind of wrung out. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think it was going to be so heavy. I think I wasn't anticipating. I already went through the article. I just had never clicked on the links to go and look at everything they were referencing like we did today. So I don't think I was anticipating going through so much at one time. So I do apologize for the people in the chat. I did not give a trigger warning. So we're going to try to re-energize with some memes at Sunny Bunny's suggestion. So let's do this. Let me do the outro one more time. To separate things, this is not a good day for me to not have any good memes. Instead of a meme, I did want to point out Jubilee did a episode quickly, then we can get into the memes. Jubilee did a episode.
How much money does your
I have
church
not
make a
watched this episode, but like most things, it's going viral on TikTok, and I can't escape it in my For You. I don't know who this man is right here, but they did this other side dirty. They did this other side dirty by setting them up to talk to him. This is called Black Christians versus Black Atheists, and it goes probably how you would expect it to. It goes probably how you would expect it to. Production, you are getting the ads because you are behind. I'm just playing, but I do think it was Parati. I just haven't watched the episode in a while. But the Boondocks does, I think, make parody of the Black community a lot. So, or at least it used to when I think Aaron was the creator. Let's quickly watch a little bit of this.
How much money does your church make a year? This is important. How much money does your church make a year?
I don't have that number at the top of my mind.
He has the number. He has the number. You can't give me an estimate.
Wasn't coming here to talk about the budget.
Okay.
No, I didn't come here to talk about the budget. I didn't know about that. I thought everybody gonna come in.
Okay, that's very important. The reason why I bring it up is because we're talking about what the Black community, what the Black church does for the community, right? And if you are taking money from the Black participants who go to your church, you should know how much money you're taking from the community, especially since the community isn't financially stable. Yeah. But also churches that make over 100,000.
I'm gonna spoil this because I don't want Jubilee to I don't know if they copyright or whatever, because they have on my video before. But just know that the Christians aren't looking good in this debate. They are not looking good. They are not looking good in this debate.
Y'all shouldn't be, because they are not contributing to the community that they come from. To be honest, I'm not really a Christian anymore. I only say I am because I live in the South.
Yes, they talk about, the guy on the right gets into the idea of his grandma going to church every week, putting in her tithes, the money that's taken away from her ability to pay her rent, and the church can't even provide her a place to stay. And he's like, y'all gonna have to do more than turkey or something. Turkey every Thanksgiving. Y'all gonna have to do better than giving out that turkey every Thanksgiving. So the young man has a beef with the church. The young man has a set belief, but he's not listening to the man. I was very surprised that the comments were dividing. A lot of people were saying that the young man has beef with church. And then other people, of course, are like, the pastors are pimping y'all. I'd have asked how much they made last year. They did taxes, right? You're going to have to ask Michelle about that. Do y'all know about this man? Hold up. Please tell me somebody knows what I'm talking about. I'm not crazy. Let me pull this up. We probably need Themis for this one. Have y'all ever seen the Apostle David? Not they put the apostle in quotations. Have y'all ever seen the Apostle David's deposition? I've watched this man's full deposition. These videos are hours long. Let me see how long these videos are. I literally watched all of these videos. I watched full deposition, an hour and 20 minutes long. And then part 2 was an hour, 20 minutes long. Day 2 was also 2 hours long. Then there's day 1, part 3 is also 30 minutes long. Day 2, part 2 is just 3. I've watched all of these hours of this man's. We got to watch this, y'all. But it's very long, but it's so worth it. It is so. Let me see if I can just put some highlights real quick. Basically, to summarize, there's a couple suing this man in his church for like taking their money and running and spending it on his cars and his house. And anyway, so he's just being questioned like, so why did the church need a Bentley? Why did the church need fur coats? Why did the church need private jets for you to travel? Why did the church need? They're asking him all these questions, and he's like, that's really just a finance that we need to make sure when I buy the quality suits with the fur, the quality, it's not just me spending money frivolously, right? If I buy a $50 suit, it'll just break apart and I have to buy so many. But if I buy this $5,000 suit, it's the longevity. Listening to this man fumbling on his words for 2 hours was the best use of 2 hours of my day. I watched this like 2 or 3 years ago or something. It was the best use of my time. We have to watch this. But this feels like a Themis thing. Somebody summon Themis one day, and we can I'll see if he wants to sit for 2 hours and give us the legal perspective, because I need to understand legally, from a legal perspective, why is this man doing this? Let me hold up.
We are now on the record. This is the videotape deposition of David E. Taylor, aka Today's date is February 10th, 2015. The time is now 10:41 a.m. by the Health Center and the video.
It's so soft. Let's see if I can skip ahead. I don't want to see the swearing in.
Sure.
Yes.
You use that as a residential center.
Okay.
The ministry.
Right.
The ministry.
And you purchase
Ministry residence. Resident.
the temperature.
The apartment, which is my main residence. That's my residence.
So you're saying that the temperature house, what do you call that within JMMI? How do you?
A ministry residence, residential center.
Okay.
Do they have pictures? I need the video that had the pictures. They had the pictures of the residential ministry center, and it didn't look like a ministry. It didn't look like any ministry I've seen. It looked like a mansion that he and his family stay in, with the Bentley out front. That he's also for transporting the members. It's important we have a quality car. The Ferrari is able to get us to the destinations quicker. And see, when we cut down on the time, we cut down on the expenses. You see, I don't know what he was saying. He was saying something stupid.
Okay. Residential center.
Yes.
Let me go to the most replayed part.
Yes.
Because
the ministry. But we were doing a TV launching, so I needed to stay in the States for that.
The TV launching?
Mhm.
Get the answer yes or no.
Yes.
And what does that mean?
TV ministry. A national TV broadcast.
Yeah.
But the year before that, and all the years before that, I did all the international travel. And so I had to postpone most of the international travel to this year, back to this year.
And when you did travel internationally, where did you go?
Korea, Jamaica. I mean, not Jamaica. I'm sorry. The Bahamas. To Budapest, Hungary.
Korea, Jamaica, the Bahamas.
I hope someone checks the local male populations, because we know how these pastors get down.
Oh yeah, I best believe we know how the pastors get down. We know how trusted individuals in the community get down. Absolutely.
Those were, I think I spent the majority of my time in Korea last year, back and forth there. So
when you go there, do you take other people from JMMI?
Yes.
Who goes with you?
Michelle goes. It depends on who I choose to go or who she would choose to go for. So Michelle went.
Okay, I don't feel like I can convey what I need to convey in like a short amount of time. This feels like it has to be a separate stream, because I feel like we'd have to watch a lot of it to get the gist of what I'm talking about. So we're going to bench that for now. Also, I'm pretty sure Michelle has, let me see. Ask Michelle. So Michelle also has one. She has a deposition, and he threw Michelle under the bus. Every time they were like, why are you spending $1 million on a private jet from the church? Are you sure this is not a personal expense? Well, you have to ask Michelle. She does the taxes on that. How come y'all bought a new Ferrari? You really have to ask Michelle about that. You know, everything Michelle does that. What did you eat for dinner last night? That's really a Michelle question. You'll have to go through Michelle for that. Anyway, I'm just saying, this is, if y'all don't know about this already, you haven't lived yet. The family tried to get the mother to stop giving him money, but she was brainwashed. Oh yeah. Yes. Okay, so that's a different day. Now let's get back to the memes. Sorry, guys. Oops. The volume was off.
Listen, amazing prices. Service like no other. Samsung Trinidad TT.
When I tell you, I've seen like 3 of these commercials in a row. Anyway, let's move on.
Number 58. Oh, man, he crashed.
A pedido de todos ustedes, desde esta semana.
I can't understand the language in this one, and it also has music that I think is copyright. But just know that I've been seeing these commercials all over the place.
Number 58. Oh, man, he crashed.
A pedido de todos ustedes, desde esta semana.
Okay. Somebody said somebody ran up to catch it in the end. Now, what was he going to do?
I don't even get it. Car is fly though. I said I don't even get why he stepped in front of that, but the car is fly. That I would never do that. I'd be too scared. But the car kind of fly. It's kind of fly that he's doing that.
I don't believe it's an engine in there. It ain't no way you got me believing that they got engine and fluid all in this thing. It ain't nothing but suspension in there and a remote control somewhere in my mind. But yes, I absolutely agree. Look at it. It is just. Yeah, he has a remote, right? I didn't see it, but he has the remote controlling it right over here. I don't know how you win this, by the way. I've seen these, and usually there's multiple cars, and they're all bouncing. I don't know how you win this competition, if it is one. I don't know if this is accredited, or I don't know what goes on here. But I feel like this person won when their car is up that high. That's all I'm going to say. What else do we have? This is this child's first 5D experience. I'm sure she'll never forget it, even if she doesn't remember it. I'm confused too. Somebody said this is my first 5D experience too. What is this? Somebody said imagine this while tripping or high. Anyway, I don't have good memes, guys. I'm sorry. This is all I got today. This man designed some new pants. Oops, it's copyright music. Yeah, I'm feeling it. Are y'all feeling it?
Low key, almost. Not actually, but almost. It's almost like, okay. Hopefully, like, I don't know. I don't know why I think it's just the tiniest bit. Not fly, but there's a little bit of ingenuity there. I can't be as mad as I want to be. I can't.
Somebody said this is what you wear when you don't want your when you're on your period and don't want to wreck your new pants. Is this true?
Maybe. Or hey, some of the men are hugging the block in a different way, and maybe they need to layer up. You never know.
That's all I got.
I should pump it again.
I just thought this was cool. This isn't a meme. All right, that's all I got. Oh, it says my son Joshua at age 1 year old showing the spirit of martial arts. Wait, what's that? Anywho, these comments, they say he got anger issues at age of 1. He moving out when he turned 18. It's 6. You ain't got to 18 with this. Somebody say he's enjoying it and that's scary. Can you imagine what his mother went through for 9 months? Fly him to Thailand. Book him a flight with Jake Paul. I saw his stomach rise and fall. It is too. Bro just got kneecaps and he's ready to blow them out already. All right. I'm done. That's all I got. Look at this white people exercise.
2, 1, 2, on 2, 1, 2, on 2, 1, 2.
Deliver the shoulder hit, right?
1, 2.
There we are.
On
Good job,
2,
Tyler.
1, 2, on 2, 1.
Now kiss each other on the mouth. What are they doing at practice?
The Teabag Express.
Let me see. And somehow it's always the rugby kids that were the most homophobic in school. It do be men like this who hate gay people the most. It do be men like this. In my personal experience, these type of men are definitely going to go and be homophobic the next day. Absolutely, 100%. 100%. Now let's see. I had one more. If I could just find it. This isn't it, but here's one.
Did you meet the baby? No, I haven't. Where is she? It almost bit me. What the hell was that? Did you meet the baby? No, I haven't. Where is she? It almost bit me. What the hell was that? Did you meet the baby?
That wasn't what I wanted to show you, but that's what you got. That's what you got. I can't find the one I want. Yep, that's all I got. That's all I got for you guys. I don't think I can find anything else. Or I can't find what I'm looking for.
Hey, Anna. Remember you told me I was going to be a nobody and a drug addict? Look at me now. I got a nice car, looking good. God.
Anywho, that's all. I can't find what I'm looking for, so you guys will just have to go on the cliffhanger. It was a person doing an interesting exercise that I wanted to show you guys, but I can't find it anymore. So hopefully these memes sufficed for today. How's Ramadan going? Terrible. Hate it. Hate it. Stay strong, brothers and sisters. But as for me, I might break my fast. But we're so close to the end. Anywho, thank you everybody for joining. Leah, do you have any last words? Is it Leah or Lay?
Leah. But no, just Black women love each other, care for yourselves, support Black women. Yes, atheists for the win. And yeah.
Agreed. Not during my Ramadan. No, ma'am. Anywho, thank you everyone for joining. Be sure to leave a like on the video, by the way. It does help out with the algorithm. I have not seen anyone say anything about ads in the latter half, so it does look like I'm able to YouTube either sets them automatically or I can choose manually where to place them. So it looks like that does have some effect. So hopefully y'all are not getting too many ads on the live streams anymore. Drink a lot of water tonight before you're fat. Oh, I'm about to eat. I'm about to eat. Because I did eat a lot yesterday night and it carried over into next morning, so I wasn't that hungry. So stay strong. Support Black women who have decentered men, and don't fall for the Candace Owens. You stop. That's right. Let me chastise y'all real quick. Y'all need to stop. Stop. Stop it. She was just different 3 days ago. Stop it. Y'all know better.
Her bob is fine. You can't blame us. Her bob is fine. We can't. We stand the fashion. I can't.
Anywho, thank you for watching. Oh, I forgot to call out the people who aren't subscribed. Let's see. YouTube does show me live who is and is not subscribed. I can click on this video right now on this exact live stream, and I can see who is and who is not subscribed. Let's see. So we're going to go over to audience. 26% of y'all are not subscribed. It's 100 people, 119 people in here. That means at least 26 of you are not subscribed, plus a little extra. And y'all are here right now. This is live. This is live. Let me refresh real quick. Live, 26.7%. So 26 of y'all and a 7 out of 10th of y'all are not subscribed. And y'all are here right now. Now what? Now what? Why? Why? I just want to know why. That's all.
You know what? I'm gonna be very honest. I'm actually not subscribed to you.
As soon as you said I'm gonna be honest. As soon as you said I'm gonna be honest.
I'm not. I generally don't. And again, I don't really subscribe to men's channels, especially since you pop up on YouTube for me whenever you go live. So I just don't see a reason to. I'm so very sorry.
Got it. Got it. Look, if you have, if you don't follow men's channels, then don't make me the exception. Follow. Make sure to remain steadfast to your principles and morals. First, allegiance to me should not come at the cost of your beliefs. Yeah. So that being said, the 26 of y'all got away today. But just know I can see y'all live. And now I'm about to start doing connections because you can actually see if the same people over extended periods of time. So now I'm about to start connecting some dots so I can call out some names because I'm tired of saying 26 people. I want to read each name off the list individually. That's what I want to do. But anywho, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ariel and Voice of Reason for the super chats earlier. I do appreciate it. Other than that, good night, everybody, and have a good April Fools for the remaining like 2 hours or 3 hours of the day. Good night.